ang ating guest. Siya si Dr. Raul Venerando Bacalso Atupan Jr. Siya po ay isang surgical and clinical pathologist. Bigyan na natin ang ating guest, si Dr. Raven. Good morning po sa inyo, Dr. Raven.
Good morning, Dr. Cherry.
Opo.
Morning sa inyo.
Nagpapasalamat po kami dahil sa kahit sobrang busy kayo at napakalayo ng inyong lugar, ay napagbigyan niyo po kami na maging special guest kayo namin dito sa ating programang All About Women. At ang ating pong bisita, mga viewers natin, tsaka mga listeners, ay ang kanyang pangalan na buo ni Dr. Raven ay si Dr. Raul Venerando Bacalso Atupan Jr. Yan. Siya po ay isang surgical and clinical pathologist at siya po ay nandyan ngayon sa Mindanao, sa particular sa Butuan City. Yan. At siya po ay isang PRC Physician Licensure Examination passer at siya ay nag-train sa Makati Medical Center Medical Doctors Incorporated, Department of Laboratories, Residency Training Surgical at Anatomic and Clinical Pathologist, Combined Clinical and Surgical Pathology. Siya po ay merong Anatomic Pathology Certification and Clinical Pathology Certification. Yan po ang ating special guest, si Dr. Raven. Bumati naman po kayo, Dr. Raven, sa ating mga viewers around the world.
Okay po. Good morning sa lahat, particularly sa mga sumusubaybay sa DWBL YouTube ni Dr. Sherry. Good morning po sa lahat. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raven. At marami pong mga katanungan, Doc, na nais nilang malaman kasi yung ibang gustong mag-take ng medicine ay syempre mamimili sila kung ano yung kanilang specialization. Ang tanong natin, Doc, kung ang isang estudyante na gustong mag-take ng medicine, kailan po ba niya malalaman kung ano pong specialization ang meron siya?
Well, nagsisimula talaga yan sa
general practice po.
Sa college, may mga particular courses na kukunin yung isang estudyante before siya magme-medicine. So yung pre-med course ang tawag sa amin diyan. So yun talaga ang they should start there. Usually 4-year college course. Pwedeng nursing, pwedeng medical technology, BS biology, yung mga pre-med courses na yan before they take up medicine. Tapos bago nila malalaman yung particular specialization na gusto nila, meron silang exposure as an intern, no? So, pwedeng as early as a medical student, gusto na nilang maging surgeon or clinician or pathologist, for that matter. Pero pwede ring at a later part na nila malalaman talaga, ma-realize the specialization that they want because of the exposure na ginagawa ng mga schools, interns. So, nagro-rotate kasi yung mga students sa lahat ng mga departments of medicine. So dun a large percentage of students will then realize the specialization that they want.
Okay. So kayo po, Doc, ay ang napili ninyo ay ang pagiging pathologist. Okay. Doc, what inspired you to pursue a career in pathology?
well, when I was still a kid, yung my parents, as you already know, are doctors also.
Both doctors, opo.
Yes, yung father ko, he had a small clinic in our town, and then meron ding maliit na laboratory inside that small facility that he has. Tapos merong microscope kasi doon eh. It was even an old one wherein you will use the sunlight only to visualize whatever you want to see in that in the field, no, in the microscope. So yun, dun I think nag-start yung talagang interest ko with the microscopic world. Kaya every day, maski nung during vacation times, meron talaga akong tinitignan dun sa microscope, whether it's a plant or a seed or a leaf. Tinitingnan ko talaga yan. Tapos parang na-strengthen when I was in college. I took up a medical technology course.
Opo.
Okay. Andun talaga yung yes.
Opo.
Nandun yung interest ko talaga sa botany, biology. Tapos yun, after I finished my medical schooling, I was assigned as a municipal health officer in one of the municipalities here in the region. And meron kaming mga minor surgeries. I got curious kung ano yung mga nakukuha natin from different patients, yung mga cysts, yung mga tumor growth na nakukuha namin. So I decided on specializing in pathology because I wanted to really know more kung anong category itong mga tumor na nakukuha natin during minor surgeries. May idea na tayo kung benign or malignant ba ito, but still it's also best to document it under the microscope. So yun talaga ang final diagnosis ng isang particular case that entails mga biopsy, yung mga ganun. Kaya I was more geared towards that aspect of diagnostic medicine. Kaya naging pathologist ako.
Naging pathologist kayo. Ayan po, Doc. So malalaman pala ng isang medical student yung kanyang specialization in the future depende yun sa kung ano yung kanyang natuunan during the schooling na na nakahiligan. Like say kung magiging surgeon siya o magiging general practitioner siya or magiging OB-GYN, ano po.
Yes.
Opo. Ito, Doc, ang pangalawang katanungan natin, what do you think sets pathology apart from other medical disciplines?
Yung pathology kasi is one of the few specializations of us doctors that require that entails patient care and management pa rin, but not directly in contact with the patient. Bale, we are part of a team which would include clinicians, surgeons, for that matter, in the part of surgical pathology, no, yung mga biopsy. So yun, kasama pa rin kami sa patient management, but nandito kami sa laboratory side, sa mga diagnostic sa diagnostic component of patient care and management. Yung mga clinicians, they're the ones directly in contact with the patient, the surgeons. As pathologists, we support and help in the eventual cure of the patient by interpretation and proper diagnosis of the patient's case.
Doon po sa laboratory.
Yes, in the laboratory. Yes.
Opo. Tapos, Doc, ito may another question dito we have here. What do you think are the most important skills for a successful pathologist? Ano po ba ang dapat po ba hindi nanginginig ang kamay or malinaw ang mata? Ano po ba ang ang pagiging pathologist? Ano po ba ang karakter ng isang magaling na pathologist?
Yeah. Isa rin yun, yung dapat, since it entails examination mostly sa microscope, then kailangan a pathologist should know what is normal first. Kaya during our training, it's it's an additional 4 years. After 4 years of pre-med, may 4 years tayo na medical school, and then another 4 years, another 4 or 5 years na naman for specialization. So during specialization namin, we are really taught to know what is normal first before ma-identify namin yung mga abnormal. So sa surgical pathology aspect, kailangan alam namin yung itsura ng normal tissue bago namin masabi that this particular tissue is may abnormality, ganon. Fluids din, body fluids like blood. If you're familiar with the chemistry, laboratory chemistry levels that people usually do to check their health, yung mga executive panels natin, kailangan merong ma-identify talaga ng mga doctors yung mga critical values, yung mga abnormal values sa mga blood levels
ng mga blood.
Yes. So yun, kailangan alam muna ng isang specialist yung normal. In my case, kailangan talaga updated kami sa mga information para ma-identify talaga namin kung anong sakit ng pasyente when we see that there's something abnormal. So,
napakahalaga po, Doc, ng inyong role, no? Diyan sa panggagamot dahil nalalaman ninyo kung ano pong klaseng sakit by basing on yung mga blood examination po, di ba? Tsaka yung sa urine, di po ba? Tama po ba, Doc?
Yes, kasama, urine.
Opo. Yung sa po, Doc, yung sa saliva po, meron din po bang yun, halaga?
May mga
discovering kung ano yung illness?
Merong, yung mismong not really saliva, but the secretions in the respiratory tract. Minsan, most of the time, particularly in rural areas, they do smears from sputum, yung sputum smears to check for the tuberculosis, to check for those organisms that cause TB. Kaya kasama yung sputum to diagnose a particular pulmonary or respiratory condition that the patient has. So in some tests din, meron ding like recently dun sa pandemic natin that occurred.
Yung sa COVID-19 po, Doc?
Yes. Yung saliva, may test din na saliva can be used to diagnose and to see if the patient has been exposed to COVID. So, meron ding mga test na ganyan, saliva.
So ano po yun, Doc? Pag nasa laboratory kayo, as in naka-ano talaga kayo, di ba yung parang damit kayo ng parang mga astronaut ba? Para hindi kayo mahawaan.
Yung may category, depende sa category ng laboratory yan. Kung hazardous ang specimen na
Opo.
na pino-forward dun sa laboratory. Then yun, like sa molecular laboratory, when they do test for COVID, meron talagang particular setup yung laboratory, yung ventilation, tapos yung area kung saan ang working. Tapos yung personnel dapat din naka-complete protective gear. So depende yun sa category ng laboratory. But the basic laboratories that we have in our hospitals are the ones that would cater to routine tests. So hindi naman naka-complete gear yung mga personnel, pero nandun pa rin yung precautions on how to handle
avoid being contaminated by the ano po, Doc.
So nandun pa rin yung lab gowns and gloves and masks, no? So andun pa rin yung mga precautions. So depende sa category ng laboratory.
Opo. Ito, Doc, what do you think are the biggest challenges faced by a pathologist today? Ano po ba yung mga challenges na nahaharap po ninyo?
Well, yung in my case, ang in sa mga kasama ko din na mga pathologists, gusto namin talaga na may access talaga yung public with accessible talaga sa public yung proper diagnostic tools, no? Like I'm talking about the access to advanced equipment. Marami kasing areas sa amin in particular na puro basic or less than basic modalities ang meron sa laboratory. So mga
you're referring, Doc, to the government hospitals that we have?
Some
mga private po?
Meron ding mga private, pero meron ding mga public hospitals that are small and lacking, no, in
mga laboratory equipments po.
Yes, in the laboratory equipments. Tapos what they have are usually the basic ones only, wherein the personnel will only do manual tests to identify a particular illness that the patient have. So ang mangyayari niyan, lahat ng mga tao will always go to the larger hospitals dahil doon nga yung mas kompleto. Tapos ang mangyayari din doon is magiging mas congested din yung many hospitals because of that, dahil nagmamigrate yung mga clients where they're supposed to be examined dapat doon sa place nila na malapit, tapos may hospital, because of the lack of proper equipment, wala ring mangyayari. So yun ang gusto namin na we're lobbying with local chief executives that to revamp or update naman yung mga diagnostic tools in
sa laboratory po.
Yes, in the laboratory.
So, ang ibig niyo po sabihin, Doc, yung sa mga local lang po to, executives lang po niyo hihingiin. Hindi po ba to kailangan na i-approve pa ng Congress?
Hindi naman. I think it's probably prioritization lang siguro. Yung marami kasing program in the Department of Health. So if a particular local chief executive realizes the importance of the laboratory, then although meron naman marami namang yun ang priority nila, kaya kudos to that, no, maganda. Pero yung iba kasi, even private hospitals, they're also somewhat limited, no, in their diagnostic
equipment po, Doc.
yeah, their diagnostic equipment, mga machines. So maganda yon, like in many parts of Metro Manila and in Cebu, they already have many advanced equipments that can identify diseases and illnesses very fast, no, and very efficient.
So actually, Doc, napapansin ko lang in my own personal observation, marami na rin po kasing nag-proliferate ng mga laboratory na mga diagnostic centers na yung mga doctors po, they just parang issue parang something like parang reseta, Doc, no, for these patients to go and have it rather examine their blood, their urine, and
request the laboratory request
sa mga laboratory po ng mga private. Kasi siguro nga sa mga hospitals tulad ng sinabi niyo, Doc, ay kailangan na po i-modernize naman yung mga mga laboratory tools niyo.
Opo. Yung mga doctors kasi hindi namin actually you cannot blame doctors because once a particular laboratory releases a report, kuminsan hindi tugma doon sa clinical presentation ng pasyente. Well, it happens, no, na yung report parang hindi proportionate doon sa sakit ng pasyente. That's why some doctors, they usually outsource their laboratory results from other laboratories para ma-compare nila. Pero it's a natural din naman yun para lang ma-confirm or ma-dispel naman yung isang laboratory that they think has an error. No? Pero marami namang programs to prevent that dahil yung mga laboratories at nowadays are already under a close monitoring by the Department of Health.
Pathologist like you po, Doc.
Yes.
Kasi yung mga medtech lang parang hindi ganun din po, Doc, no? You think so? Hindi ganun ka-reliable yung kanilang mga
Well, talagang covered sila sa they have to be able to fulfill the requirements of a particular licensed accredited lab. So kasama na doon yung personal development and update ng laboratory personnel, no, that works inside the laboratory. So by seminars, orientations, and their conventions, no, kailangan updated sila. Tapos chine-check din yung mga training certificates namin, no. So ganun na ka strict ang Department of Health, which is also good because it would put all these laboratory facilities on their toes, no. Kailangan fulfill talaga yearly yung mga nire-require sa kanila ng Department of Health. Tapos meron din silang mga monitoring system like the quality assurance system that the national office is doing to all laboratories. Kailangan pasado palagi, may mga tests yan. Oo. That's why yung ibang laboratories hindi makaka-fulfill ng mga requirements, hindi rin sila ma-operate. So that would ensure that the laboratories that are functioning are really accredited.
Modern po, Doc, in terms of equipment.
Yes.
Opo. Doc, mag-station ID lang po tayo at saka program teaser for a while.
Okay.
Huwag po kayong bibitaw, Doc, ha? Kasi marami pa po tayong mga questions para sa inyo, para po sa benefits ng ating mga viewers at listeners dito sa ating programang All About Women sa DWBL.
Mula sa top-rated music station ng dekada 80, ang WBL. Tuloy na naglilingkod sa inyo sa pamamagitan ng magaganda at piling-piling programa. Mula Lunes hanggang Linggo, aaliwin kayo ng aming kilalang mga komentarista at public service program. Ito lamang sa himpilan ng DWBL.
May magandang balita para sa ating mga kababaihan. Narito na ang programang ginawa tungkol sa mga kababaihan para sa kababaihan. All About Women. Makinig, pakilahok at subaybayan. Mga talakayan para sa natatanging kababaihan. Usapang cooking, health and beauty tips, motherhood, parenting at marami pang iba. Tunghayan, All About Women. Tuwing Sabado mula alas 9 hanggang alas 10 ng umaga. All About Women, kasama si Dr. Cherry Sarmiento Valiega. Dito lang sa DWBL 1242 kHz.
Okay, balik po tayo sa ating programang All About Women. Ang inyong pong lingkod, Dr. Cherry Sarmiento Valiega. Dito po sa ating programang All About Women. At ang ating pong special guest for this morning ay si Dr. Raven Atupan ng Butuan City. At yung katanungan natin kanina kay Doc, na nais nating bigyan niya sa atin ng paliwanag ay, what do you think are the most important qualities for a successful pathologist in terms of job satisfaction? Ano po ba ang masasabi niyo dyan, Doc?
In terms of job satisfaction.
Okay.
Yeah, the laboratory kasi is like a maraming sections kasi yan yung laboratory, tapos a pathologist should be a efficient and a good manager also. So andun yung pag-supervise ng mga as you said, medical technologists and other lab personnel, no? So importante din sila. So in terms of para efficient at mabilis naman yung work, routine work, no? They should already know what to do, no? So andun na yung mga eksaktong shift ng duties nila, and they should be able to be well versed with what they're operating, no? Dahil mostly ngayon, particularly secondary and tertiary laboratories, even primary laboratories, are already using automated equipments or semi-automated equipments. Kaunti na lang yung mga manual procedures that we do. So para successful and accomplish naman yung job namin, then kailangan maganda rin yung pag-run, pag-supervise ng department head ng, which is the pathologist, no, dun sa mga tao nila. And we also handle other laboratories also that can also collaborate with the laboratories that we are handling. So
katulad po ng ano, Doc?
Yung if a laboratory cannot perform this particular test dahil wala sa kanila yung examination, for instance, biopsy, yung mga histopathology ang tawag sa amin dyan. Like, kung walang ganun, walang section yung isang laboratory, then they can collaborate with a higher laboratory to do the work for them. So, yung supervision and handling namin will not only extend to this particular laboratory but also to outside, no? So para kumpleto yung management ng case ng pasyente. So hanggang sa final diagnosis, ganyan. So in terms of job satisfaction, I think the personnel that the pathologists is handling should also be very efficient and very updated with their work.
Okay. Ito, Doc. What do you think are the most important qualities for a successful pathologist in terms of teaching opportunities? Meron po ba kayong mga time para magturo din po sa School of Medicine?
In my case,
Apo.
wala sa schedule ko pa yan right now. Although there have been many invitations for me to do that. Sa akin naman, a pathologist can also become a good teacher dahil hindi lang inside the classroom yung pagtuturo namin, but we can also expose students to the actual methodology of how a student performs a particular test. So yung mismong practical application of what they're learning inside the classroom. So I think yung marami rin akong mga colleagues, pathologists also, that are handling teaching positions and they're doing very well. So maganda kasi yung aside from lecturing only, nakikita din nung mga
actual
students. Yes, yung actual. Yung iba, they're handling medical technology, the College of Medical Technology, which is can be a pre-med course also before they go into medicine if they want to. So I think yung mga qualities na yan, it's also by choice, no? Yung iba kasi they're already too masyado ng full yung schedule nila, kaya yung teaching what's this aspect dun na lang sa laboratory mismo, wherein pwede silang magbigay ng mga lectures and updates to the lab personnel. Yun na lang. Instead na dun sa college.
Opo. Ito, Doc, what do you think would be the biggest benefits of working as a pathologist in terms of research opportunities naman po?
Sa research naman, I think yung advantage namin, yung access namin to a large database, no? Meron kaming records of patients' records and other data, no, that we can collate. Like for example, pwede naming makita yung age.
Yung parang history, Doc, ng isang pasyente, parang ganon.
Yes. Pero hindi lang yun, pwede rin namin i-arrange or i-sort yung patients according to age and according to sex.
Okay, opo.
Yes, kung anong most common conditions or diseases that are causing the morbidity.
For example, Doc, yung kidney ailment, no?
Yes. Yung mga kidney ailments din, makikita namin yung saan ang most common in what particular age. So yun ang the access to that information is, I think, also one benefit, no, if you want to go into research.
Opo. Parang data gathering, Doc, no?
Yes, data gathering, it's already there. Kailangan lang namin ng what's this, depende on what you want to do. Like if you want to arrange if you want to make a tumor registry, ano yung mga pinaka-common tumor na nakikita natin here in Butuan City, ganon. Meron kaming, I can access that. Of course, limited lang yung population namin, pero we can already have an idea, no? And several other aspects pertaining to data If you want to do research, meron kaming we can go to our archives to look. So I think yun ang I think ang isang benefit in for being in this specialty. If you want to do research, then meron kang access to data.
Ay, Doc, matanong ko kayo, what do you think is the reason why na karamihan sa mga, there are lots of mga sort of parang a kidney dialysis center nowadays. It used to be na parang wala namang ganun sa Pilipinas nung araw, Doc. So, ibig sabihin marami na po nagkakasakit ng sa kidney, yung mga kidney failure or other kidney illnesses. Ano po ba, Doc, sa observation ninyo ang nagiging cause nito? Is it sa food po ng Pilipino na, pansin ko po kasi, Doc, no? Kasi masyadong observant ako sa mga people around. Nakikita ko yung mga kinakain nila ngayon, yung mga ihaw-ihaw na mga isaw, yung mga innards ng mga hayop, 'di ba? Na kinakain nila. I guess since parang mataas po yata, Doc, ang uric acid niyan. You think is one of the reason why na parang ang dami nating Pilipino na nag-undergo ngayon ng dialysis sa kidney?
Yeah, pwede isang factor din 'yan. Diet talaga has been proven to cause many maladies, particularly if sobra yung kinakain na sobra ang like for example sa sinasabi mong barbecue and yung meron kasi doon yung usually high fat, tapos kung medyo burned pa yung fat, yun tapos yun pa talaga ang gustong kainin, yung mga burned na parang
mga sunog.
Sunog na fat. Yung marami ding mga carcinogens diyan, meaning meron ding mga chemicals diyan na nagko-cause ng cancer yung sa mga ganyan, tapos yung mga siguro probably sa mga preservatives din natin sa diet, sa food natin, I mean, yung mga yan. Tapos anything in excess din, like kung maski na low fat ang kinakain pero
marami
naman, and then excess naman yung carbohydrates, meron ding effect yan sa katawan, not only in the kidneys, no. Yung sa proliferation naman ng mga dialysis centers, I think although before talagang proven na yan na marami kaming patients now that are, I mean, I see patients that are 100
undergoing dialysis, Doc.
Yes. You even younger
yes,
patients namin. But I'm talking about the lifestyle before. Yung mga pasyente, like yesterday I saw a 108-year-old patient was referred. Yeah. So yung mga lifestyle before talaga talagang healthy, no, dahil maraming mga centenarians ngayon eh. Yung lifestyle nowadays, particularly in urbanized places are so probably dahil that's why siguro na tumadami yung mga pasyente sa dialysis center dahil doon sa diet. Sa diet natin.
Isa pang sakit, Doc, na very common nowadays. I think siguro kung meron mga research about this, na napakarami pong mga Pilipino, even the younger ones, they have already this diabetes.
Yes. Probably noon meron na rin, kaso right now mas because of access to diagnostic tests, kaya marami ding na-diagnose na meron diabetes. Probably before hindi lang na-diagnose or nakikita limited pa yung mga tests natin. Right now, because of advancements naman, siguro nakikita na rin na da-diagnose natin earlier yung mga diabetes. That's why we think that it's also increasing nowadays. Pero I think it's also because of accessibility tests.
Since time immemorial ba, Doc? O ngayon lang?
Ang alin po?
Yung diabetes po, Doc.
Ay, matagal na siguro yun, yung sakit na diabetes. Tapos it's either what's this? Meron kasing nakukuha by may acquired kasi na diabetes. You get it in the later adult age, no? And then meron din naman ay starting sa childhood pa lang, meron ng abnormality.
Meron na. Opo,
yes.
Doc.
Kaya
nakukuha niyo po, Doc, yun sa pag-test po ng ng blood, kung marami pong sugar sa blood. Opo.
Blood sugar, that's correct. Yung fasting blood sugar, meron din tayong random blood sugar. So kung abnormal yung mga yun, particularly pag sinamahan ng symptoms din, then a clinician or a diabetologist can already label that patient a diabetic. Tapos yun, magagawa na yung mga management ng pasyente as a diabetic also. All because of this testing sa laboratory. So makikita natin.
Okay. So, Doc, sa tingin niyo po, ano po ang mai-advise ninyo sa ating mga viewers at ating mga listeners over the radio sa kanilang pagpoprotect sa kanilang mga health para po hindi naman kayo kumbaga congested ang mga laboratory sa mga test nila dahil sa kanilang mga iba't ibang mga sakit. Ano po ba yung mga health tips na nais niyo pong ibahagi sa ating mga viewers para po sila ay magkaroon ng ng healthy living?
Well, nandun talaga yung regular checkups, no, with your physician. Pero yung iba naman, like kung wala ka namang nararamdaman, maganda pa rin yung
magpa-check up pa rin, Doc.
On your own na you can expose yourself, you can submit yourself for a routine executive panel, yung andun na lahat yung mga test, makikita mo talaga ay mataas pala yung cholesterol ko or
Doc.
So
sugar.
Yung public kasi ngayon, they're already well versed. Minsan before they even see the doctor, meron na silang knowledge about medical stuff, no? So and since yung program naman natin is pertaining to women, yung meron din surgical aspect as anatomic aspect in pathology that we do pre-screening, so pap smears.
Doc, sa mga babae po, no, yung mga pap smears.
Pap smears, you usually
how do you recommend po yung pap smear, Doc? Every year po ba yon or how often? Yung pap smear po sa babae, Doc?
Yes, depends on the gynecologist, but what I know is every 3 years kung kung reproductive age, like in their 20s na or even up to 60s, no? Every 3 years naman, may mga references naman nagsasabing every 5 years kung nasa 30s na ang babae. But pap smear kasi is not only a tool to look for infection and other things, no, it's mainly for pre-screening for cancer dahil yung cervix kasi is exposed to lots of it can be exposed to lots of chemicals and viruses, no. in the
Opo.
environment. Kaya once ma-identify namin yung cells that can potentially become cancer, then maagapan natin kaagad nga yung mga ganyan. So,
So,
hindi naman
importante po pala, Doc, yun. Opo. Na mag-undergo ang isang babae ng pap smear recommended every 3 years or 5 years, no?
Yes,
To
every
visit their,
3 years.
their doctor. Their, OB-GYN.
Opo. If may findings na, then the OB-GYN can do it every 6 months or every year kung meron talagang nakita na findings dun sa pap smear. So, closely monitored na.
Opo. Okay. So, yun po talaga ang concern din ng mga kababaihan. Doc, what about yung pag halimbawa po ba nagkaroon na po ng na-inject na po ng yung anti-papilloma virus po, Doc? That means to say na safe na rin po ba siya dun sa mga possible na mga po pwedeng maging cancer of the ovary o kaya cancer of the uterus? Ano po ang tingin niyo doon, Doc?
It's pag na-vaccinate na, you mean? Yung
after na po na-vaccinate ng anti-papilloma virus po. Yung
it prevents,
yeah,
it prevents mainly cervical cancer, yung cancer talaga ng cervix.
Ng cervix, opo.
Yes.
Pero other than that,
yung yun talaga ang purpose niyan, is to lessen the risk of the patient to cervical cancer, yung pero of course, kagaya nung other forms of vaccination, they can only
do so much. Doon lang po sa cervix siya. Opo.
Do so much. Opo. Tapos andun pa rin yung kailangan precaution pa rin ng isang babae. Dahil you can also get other forms of sexually transmitted diseases na hindi naman covered dun sa yes, na hindi naman covered dun sa
ng HPV.
Yes.
Opo.
So, kuwan lang, yung it lessens the risk of cancer, pero yung ibang entities like infection, hindi rin malilesen.
Maka-cover nun. Opo, Doc.
Chance of getting it.
Opo. So, ang advice niyo po, Doc, talaga, lalong-lalo na sa kababaihan, na kailangan talaga maging aware na every 3 years or 5 years ay mag-undergo po tayo, kami mga kababaihan, ng tinatawag na pap smear.
Opo. And this is only for routine pre-screening. Yung mga health insurances naman natin, pwede naman natin magamit yan.
Opo.
Yeah. For annual executive panel checkup that also includes blood chemistry, pap smears, and the other things that a normal healthy female can also avail. So maganda pa rin yung aside sa healthy lifestyle diet natin, maganda pa rin yung na-check natin on our own.
Regular checkup, opo.
Yes, regular checkup.
Opo. So, Doc, after discussing with you about being a pathologist, I realized po napaka-importante pala ng pathology in terms of para malaman ng isang tao ang kanyang sakit, no? Through yung sa inyong pag-i-examine sa laboratory. No po, Doc? Kasi without you, paano malalaman nga ng ibang mga doctors kung ano yung sakit mo kung hindi madidetermine ng isang pathology? Like, Doc, kayo po, maybe you can tell us briefly yung ginagawa niyo po, like biopsy po, no, Doc? Tapos, ano po, yung autopsy po ba kasama din sa inyo, sa pathologist?
Kasama din.
Kasama rin po yun, Doc?
Yes, kasama din. yung sinasabi niyong significance ng specialization namin, again, ulitin ko that we're part of a team pa rin. Dahil the diagnosis can already be there's already an idea of the diagnosis of the patient when a clinician looks at the patient. So minsan they really don't need a laboratory documentation. So yung sa amin talaga, we're just part of a team in the inpatient care and management. Yung sa aspect naman ng biopsy, doon na talaga yung for example, may specimen na sinabmit like a uterus, for example. Medyo graphic na kuminsan, no? But mga tissues like intestine, uterus, or even breast, the whole breast kuminsan, hindi lang breast.
In the case of breast cancer po, Doc.
Yes, in case of breast cancers. Yun, sinasabit talaga yan sa laboratory. Then we have to know where to cut dahil parang operation din yan na kailangan we have to ensure that the surgical margins are free of tumor, like in the case of breast cancer, for instance. Document talaga namin yung ano yung nasa loob ng breast specimen, anong klase na tumor na nandun sa loob. Tapos yung margins ng specimen, kailangan libre yan, free of tumor yan. So we can tell the surgeon that your operation of excising the tumor was complete talaga. Walang naiwan doon sa pasyente na tumor. So by documentation in the microscope, makikita namin yon kung meron o wala. May naiwan na tumor doon sa pasyente or wala. So yun. And then after that, yung mga sections na kinukuha namin, pinaprocess yan for 16 hours depending on the machine that we have. Tapos kinakat yan, the sections that have been taken from the specimen, kinakat yan to thin sections, tapos nilalagay sa slide, tapos kinukulayan yan like stain para makita namin and ma-identify yung category ng tumor. So by knowing that, meron na ring idea yung oncologist kung anong medication ang ibibigay.
Pwede ibigay. Opo, Doc. Ay nako, Doc. Ang dami pa po sana nating nais malaman galing sa inyo being a pathologist. Kaya lang po ay medyo kukulangin na po tayo sa time. So kung meron po kayo, Doc Raven, gustong batiin ng mga friends nyo abroad, here and abroad, you may do so po, Doc. Kung sino po sa family nyo, whoever na who are watching you right now dito sa ating programa All About Women. Pwede po kayong bumati, Doc.
Siguro generalize ko na lang lahat dahil we're a big family. So I want to send my greetings to, of course, my mother that you already know, and then my brothers and sisters.
Si Dr. Ched, opo.
Yes, brothers and sisters are all around the world. They have been distributed to Switzerland, yung iba, London, yung iba. And their families and my nieces and nephews. Of course, my kids.
Family of medical doctors kayo, Doc, eh.
Yeah, marami kaming doctors actually, pero meron ding pilot, meron ding businesswoman. And then my kids and my wife, Grace, and my kids, Raven, Cheyenne, and Dwayne, who are now in Manila. And
really?
Yes, they're in two are in LaSalle and one is in UANP. So I think they're also following your
program right now, of course. Our special guest is their dad.
and your course also. Yung wala kasing medical course sa mga kids ko eh. So nandun sila sa social sciences like
really? Opo.
Humanities, literature. Opo. I want to say hi to everyone.
Dr. Raven Atupan.
It's a pleasure.
Siya po ay isang pathologist. Thank you very much po, Dr. Raven. Okay, mga kaibigan, yan po ang ating naging bisita ngayong umagang ito. Walang iba kundi si Dr. Raven Atupan. Isa po siyang pathologist at na-enlighten po tayo niya kung ano po ba ang pagiging pathologist at ano ang halaga nito sa ating health at sa pag-discover kung anong sakit meron tayo sa ating katawan. Sana po ay lagi kayong mag-tune in at mag-view dito sa ating All About Women YouTube, DWBL YouTube channel at radio. Ang inyo pong lingkod, Dr. Cherry Sarmiento Vallega para sa All About Women.
At dito nagtatapos ang isa na namang usapang pangkababaihan kasama si Dr. Cherry Sarmiento Vallega, All About Women. Tunghayaan ang muli nating pagsasama-sama sa susunod na Sabado, alas 9 hanggang alas 10 ng umaga. All About Women, dito lamang sa DWBL 1242 kHz.